want to take this time out to make this video for y'all because, I post a lot and I just want to go around that. What I got to say is way too much for me to type it in a post. I'm not really a big speaker, so it takes me a lot of courage to even get on this camera and try to post this for everybody to see. But I just feel like somebody gotta get the message out. And honestly, I don't feel I'm too articulate at the moment to do so. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm changing old ways about myself to become a better leader as a man. I want to talk about helpmates and what a helpmate is, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of things are overlooked and have been overlooked for a long time. Let me go back. I want to title this Helpmates and Leadership, because you can't point out one without the other. We go hand in hand. Man and woman go hand in hand. And I'm gonna start with helpmates. No, I'm gonna start with leadership because God made the man first. So, leadership. And yes, I am gonna include race because I feel like it plays a big deal. Slavery and stuff like that. And, we are all put into certain categories in life. Like, it's so many categories. Like, it's too many. But when it comes to the black man, when we talk about leadership, you got to think we are natural born leaders. But at the same time, we cannot forget as people that black men have been robbed of leadership back in slavery. And how it affects us today is not many fathers are in the homes. Not many fathers are in the homes. And it's affecting the family. It affects black families. It has been affecting black families since I don't know how long. And with that being said, we are lacking a lot of things that a man should have. Now, some black men have been fortunate enough to have fathers in the home. I'm a father myself. I take care of my children. I try to be the best leader that I can while still learning and growing at the same time. Confidence. We lack confidence. I lack confidence. I lack confidence more so now than I did before when I was young, and I really didn't understand that. Like, I was confident, like, amongst, my small social group, because we all participate in the same things. We are alike. It's easy for birds of a feather to flock together, So we didn't all have an eagle mindset. A lot of us had a pigeon mindset. We settled for the crumbs. And we didn't soar to go and get the good prey. So, with that being said, You know, we lack a lot of things. We lack discipline. I lacked discipline growing up. That's why I was bad in school, and and I acted in anger, and mostly all of my situations. And as a man now, a growing man, I learned to control my anger. I learned to control my emotions more than I did when I was younger. But that's something I had to learn on my own. I didn't have a leader to tell me that, to show me that. And with us being robbed of our manhood during slavery, we were not allowed to be there for our women. And fast forward to today's date, most of our women had to survive on their own. They didn't have a man to protect them, provide for them, to lead them, to instill structure. So it's like, for a long time, leadership has been absent from the black race. And now what I see is that leadership is not absent anymore, because there are a lot of men who are, like in the Bible, the Bible said, and in times, men would take their rightful place, which is going on now. You see a lot of men trying to have some things for themselves, be more stable so that they can sustain their families. And I feel like, to be honest, I feel like a boy. I'm a boy in a man's body, just to be real. So it's like, I might sound like, I'm coming from an immature state of mind, but I'm really not. I understand what's going on. I understand how things need to be. And that's just my natural inner abilities that God has given me as a man, that God pretty much gives every man, but there's levels to it. And the proper leader can bring that out of a boy and turn him into a man. So, and I know that women notice the difference. Women can see the difference between a man who is unstable versus a man who's stable, because those men wear that from the time they was born. They was under the leadership. That's like my sons. When I pay attention to my sons, I look at my sons and I say, my sons are more man than I am now. Only difference is I provide for them. But my sons are more of a man and will be more of men than I will ever be. I'm not afraid to say that. And I'm actually proud of my sons because of that. But, men who were raised by men, they wear that. And to be honest, I'd be jealous of that. I'd be jealous of that, because I'd be like, damn, boy, I wish I had the mind frame that this man had, because he saw all this, whether it was his fathers, his uncles, or whatever, teaching them how to, fish, fix things and stuff like that, how to paint, But I do what I can, and I live off the land, and I survive the way I know how to survive. But I'm teaching myself more now, because I understand that my sons are growing, and these kids, man, they need knowledge every second. That's why they ask so many questions. They're always asking questions, and it be the things that we think is so small, but it's really not. It's big. They ask very good questions. Like they say, no question is a dumb question. But you're a dumb person if you can't answer those questions. So you know, back to what I was saying about the man who was raised by leaders versus the man who wasn't. We are at a disadvantage, but we are still men. The only thing is that we just need a little more time. We need a little more guidance. Even some of us older ones, it's like I said, I still feel like a boy trapped in a man's body. It's a lot of men out here like that who are boys trapped in a man's body. And you got women who they'll just dismiss a man, not looking at the fact of, how he's been brought up. We wasn't all brought up the same. So you can't look at a man and say, oh, he's just not a leader. That's not true. That's like looking at a woman and saying she can't give birth. That's her God-given ability. But like I said, we was robbed of being leaders. The black man got the odds so stacked up against him, we can't even walk the street without the police bothering us. And they say that black man bull crap, for the birds or whatever. They don't want to hear our sob stories. But this is not a sob story. It's reality. This is what we deal with. So imagine having all these things stacked up against us and still trying to the men who still try to strive to be better men. Like, it takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. Back to what I was saying about leadership. Leadership is now present now. It's more present. Now the problem is the helpmates who are not willing to accept the leadership. The ones who have been so used to providing and surviving on their own as women that they will not accept the leadership from us men. And what's an even bigger problem is the women who did not have to survive on their own, that had leaders, that had providers. I don't care if he is a dope boy. I don't care if he is a robber. I don't care if he did murder for hire. He did what he had to do to provide for his family. You got men in Africa, you got men in Jamaica who use their God-given strength to be pirates. They kill and extort to provide for their families. Do you think that their women criticize them for what they do to bring in that bread? No, they don't. They cook that food that he hunts for. They use that money to sustain their children with the money that he killed for. I went blank mind for a second, but it'll come back to me. But back to what I was saying about leadership. Helpmates not accepting the leadership. You got women who did not have to survive on their own. And they take on the mindset of the women that actually did have to survive on their own. The women that did not have a man to be there every step of the way, making sure that they had a roof over their head, had running water, had electricity, clothes on their back, transportation. And it's like, this is where the delusion comes into play. And this is where the delusion is causing division. Because the mind frame of men ain't leaders and this, that, and the third is being pushed on the whole world, and specifically black men, because truth be told, there are a lot more white leaders, white male leaders, Latino male leaders, Chinese male leaders. But the black man honestly falls behind, but we're trying to catch up. But it's no help that the women that we have children with, the women that we marry, don't hold us down. The women that we put our life on the line for, put our freedom on the line for, don't hold us down. Because they want to compare us to, like I said, the man who's more fortunate, the man who was fortunate enough to have leaders around him. If that's the case, why y'all didn't have babies by those men? Why didn't y'all marry those men? Too busy on the inside looking out, worrying about everything but home. And it's like, okay, why not continue to build with the person that you share children with? Why not uplift him? From my understanding, it takes more energy to be negative than it does to be positive. So where is the positivity in the home? And that's a part of being a helpmate, bringing positivity, encouraging that man the same way a teacher encourages a student in class. And you don't never see the teacher just call the child out and, oh, you're stupid, you know, you're not getting the answers right. You don't see that. Being a teacher is a form of nurturing. Those teachers, that's why I applaud good teachers, because they nurture our children. They have to have patience. That's why most women are teachers, because of the patience that is instilled in them. You got teachers who have been teachers for 20 plus years, dealing with children, uplifting children. Not saying that a man is equivalent to a child, but a man who was brought up in dysfunction, a man who was brought up in the projects where there were more mothers than fathers. In a way, yes, you can say we are like children, but our abilities are not to be underestimated. Our abilities are not meant to be underestimated. We have the same capabilities of any other man that put his pants on the same way we put our pants on. In fact, we might be more stronger than them. And that's not for me to compare us to one another. Because like I said, I admire a man who was raised by his father. I admire that. Because I could be led by that. He could be my example. Same age and all. I don't undermine no man. He could be younger than me. But if he was raised by his father and he got the traits of a good father that raised him, I could look at some of his qualities and say, maybe I need to remove some of these qualities about myself and take on some of them qualities right there. You got a lot of older men who admire younger men or admire other men. But besides that, that's what we have our women for. Our women are supposed to be understanding. This is what being a helpmate is. Not telling your man he's less of a man because he sells dope. If you feel like you tired of that man selling dope, that's where you step in and help rearrange the ground. Help till the ground to sow the seeds for that man to change and find a new lane. Because obviously he don't know. So, you know, y'all are taking the knowledge and exalting yourself above the supreme beings, which is a no-no. That's a big no. Being a helpmeet is taking the knowledge that you gain to put that in your man. And you let your man lead while you sit and collect all the fruits, all the harvest, and you take care of home. But y'all don't see it like that. Because see, we in the time of social media, and it's like everybody just think for themselves, and it's all about attention, getting the glory. It's really selfish. And overall, it's hurting the community badly. Because guess what? When all these women do become successful, what are us men supposed to be? Servants? We are not servants. We are not supposed to be servants. God did not create Adam to serve the woman. He created the woman to serve Adam. But we are in a time where women has allowed their pride to take over. And I'm not referring to the women, like I said, that had to be strong. They had to be strong. They didn't have. But for y'all ones who got y'all kids' daddy and y'all belittle him and y'all tell him what he ain't, shame on y'all. Shame on y'all badly. Because y'all failing the children. When y'all family don't work out because of your mouth and your backwards way of thinking, that falls on you. Because now it's out of his it's out of his hands. Like you see, a man cannot protect what he cannot control. A lot of y'all women is way out of control. Way out of control. And I strongly believe, I'm not going to get into all these theories and stuff like that, but y'all definitely playing the game of the world. Y'all ain't playing God's game. Y'all not. It's disorderly. It's disorderly. So, I just want y'all to think about that. You know, you can help your man by teaching them. That's really what you are as a woman. You are a teacher. It's not always about self-glory. It's not about that. And if you happen to be a successful woman, that's cool. That's great. You know, any man would respect that. Any man would be happy. Any man would hit, like I said, passing a baton. But it's not for you to run to the finish line and see, I won. What about the other people racing with you? What about the person that passed you the baton? That ran the first set of laps? That lost all his wind and passed you the baton when you had a fresh, full set of lungs to complete the race so that we all could win. Be a good helpmate. And that's the end of my video. I hope y'all was able to understand what I was saying. I hope I didn't make a fool of myself. But shit, if I did, then, hey, like I said, I'm not social. Y'all have a good day.